We are 1 hour northwest of downtown Tokyo at one of the oldest and most historic courses in Asia. The Shimikoseki Country Club was built in the late 1920s and early 30s and was the first 36-hole golf facility in Japan. This week playing host to the finest young players in this part of the world. In only its second year, the Asian Amateur Championship has already become one of the most prestigious titles in the amateur game. And at stake this week, a chance to play in the footsteps of legends, with the winner receiving a coveted invitation to join the field at next year's Masters, as well as a chance to play in international final qualifying for the Open Championship next summer. Bill McAtee and longtime European Tour player and broadcaster Jay Townsend, we welcome you to Japan and a look back at this year's Asian Amateur Championship. 118 players from 27 countries started play here on Thursday, including Jake Higginbottom, the 16-year-old and top-ranked junior golfer in Australia. And that was a fine effort there, Jay, at 16.
Well, he's really a good player. He's won a tremendous number of junior tournaments down in Australia. As a matter of fact, in 2006, he won all 25 he entered. So he certainly knows how to win. A phenomenal talent.
Higginbottom with a good start. -3 on the opening day. But Hideki Matsuyama of Japan was the man of the week. And here he is on Thursday for birdie at 16.
Very difficult par 3 with water on the right that really is in the player's mind the whole time they're hitting their tee shot. It's a great birdie too.
The 18-year-old is the only player to play all 3 rounds through the first 54 holes in the 60s. Here he is at 5, the par 4.
Taking advantage of the short par 4 with just a wedge into the green and just peppering the flagstick.
From Mie, Japan, which is 550 miles southwest of Tokyo, and here for birdie at the 5th. Got off to a tremendous start, shooting 68, 34 and 34 for Matsuyama. And here's a talented young player, Yosuke Asaji, 17 years old, also from Japan.
Certainly didn't show any fear all week. Got off to a great start in the first round. Wonderful shot in the difficult par 4 ninth.
Young man who has an amateur, played in 5 events on the Japan Golf Tour this year, made the cut 4 times against the professionals, and even finished tied for 9th in the Diamond Cup in May. For birdie at the 9th. Saji opened with 67, made only 1 bogey in his first 41 holes. At 18.
Very difficult par 4. You are forced to hit the fairway if you're going to attack the pin, and he does.
Student at the same high school in Tokyo where Ryo Ishikawa graduated this past May. And to finish his opening round with birdie. 33 and 34. En route to 67, par 71 here. Yosuke Asaji, after the first day, led by a shot. 4 players grouped together there at -3 and another large group at -2. On to the second round on Friday. Here's Lee Kyung-hoon of Korea. 19-year-old. His play at the 9th.
Difficult par 4. That green is not easy to hit, so a lot of players are being forced to get up and down and out of the long rough around the green. Lee gets that up and down. Beautiful round.
32 and 35 en route to 5 under par. Another one of the outstanding talents, Tarquin McManus from Australia, a senior at the University of Arizona.
Good looking swing. Played aggressively all week. There you can see that pin tuck behind the bunker didn't bother him at all.
Led to a birdie opportunity.
That was one of the few he left short this week. He was a very aggressive putter and holed out nicely.
He was just very steady. Opened with 71 level par, but 67 on Friday, 35 and 32. He made only 3 bogeys in his first 54 holes, the fewest of anyone in the field. And he would be a factor on the weekend. Tsuyama, this for birdie at the 16th. It opened with 68.
This is a tough downhill putt. Going to break from right to left, coming off a mound in the middle of the green, putting towards the water, and it was picking up speed as it went in the hole. A great birdie too.
At the 18th now, second shot on this lengthy par 4.
Good looking swing, great tempo. Once again, he's just on fire with the irons.
So Matsuyama with this putt for birdie to shoot 69. 36, and then coming back nicely with 33 on his second 9. So in good shape heading to the weekend. Meanwhile, from Singapore, Lam Zi-chun.
Nice aggressive swing, beautiful technique. Not surprising he's one of the top players. Going to leave himself a good birdie opportunity.
He had an outstanding day on Friday. This for birdie after opening with 69. He shoots 66. 5 birdies and no bogeys on his card, 33 and 33. So look at how things stood after the opening 2 rounds. Lam Zi-chun 7 under par after that terrific 5 under round. Sajay not too far back, and to follow all the action at the Asian Amateur Championship, you can go online to AsianAmateurChampionship.com. Well, rain was the story of the day as the weekend began. Heavy downpour all day long, but prior to that, on Friday night, the Asian Amateur Championship has been thoroughly embraced in this part of the world, and just outside of Tokyo, there was a magnificent gala at an historic shrine. The featured speaker, Ryo Ishikawa, who has already attained iconic status among the young players here in Japan and really throughout Asia. He gave his speech in English and was very, very impressive. It was a terrific evening and created great memories for these young players here in Japan this week. Meanwhile, back to the action on Saturday, the 3rd round. Rain fell all day, and still we saw some very good shots.
There's a lot of impressive play in difficult conditions, and Lee has this one on the par 5. You have to take advantage of the par 5s anytime you want to shoot an under par score, and he did right there.
36 and 36 for Lee Jung-hoon, the 19-year-old from Seoul. And here's Yosuke Asaji, 17-year-old from Japan, at the first.
Youngster doesn't seem to have any fear. He's got off to a good start in several of the rounds, birding first hole.
As we've mentioned, used to playing with professionals. Did that 5 times this year. Played with the pros on the Japan tour. That was a solid effort. At the 5th, holds it from off the green.
That's what you really have to do in difficult conditions. You know, not give away any shots around the green. If you can start holding from off the green, you're way ahead of the ball game.
And at the 10th, the par 5, third shot on its way.
Good control there, keeping it below the hole. That's what it's all about on this old classic design, keeping it below the hole so you can have aggressive birdie opportunities.
Birdie chance there, and made it. But Saji struggled a little bit. 72, 36, and 36. In fact, there were only 7 subpar rounds out of the 64 players who made the cut in the 3rd round yesterday. Tarquin McManus now, his 3rd shot at the 10th.
He was one of the few players that got it up and around the green on this par 5. The golf course was playing so long with the humid conditions. The ball wasn't flying very far, so McManus showing he has a lot of strength.
And here he is for birdie. As McManus went on to shoot 67. 71, 67, and 67 to the 15th.
Perfect layup here, left himself just about 80 yards to this back left hole location. He birdied the first 2 par 5s on this par 71 golf course, left himself a great opportunity to birdie all 3.
And in fact, his play on the par 5s was one of the keys for McManus's success this week. 7 under par on the par 5s through the first 54 holes. Back-to-back rounds of 67, and he was 8 under going into the final round today. Matsuyama, and this was just brilliant. He would equal the course record in this heavy rain, unbelievable conditions. Almost hold that one at the 9th.
And a couple times throughout the week that he got in trouble, he hit some magnificent recovery shots there from right of the fairway to a right pin.
Tap in birdie. And here he is at the 15th.
Didn't play a very good layup shot, left himself in the wet rough. Didn't seem to bother him at all, though.
And another basically kick in birdie. It's a stellar play in the incredibly difficult conditions we had on Saturday. Now at the par 3 16th, 63.
The club's given players throughout the week a lot of problems as far as the clubbing on this downhill par 3, and he keeps it below the hole. Beautiful position
for birdie. 31 and 34. Matsuyama separating himself from the field by equaling the course record with 65. And a look at the leaderboard after 3 rounds, 54 holes of the Asian Amateur Championship. Matsuyama with a 3-shot advantage after that stellar 65. For more on the Asian Amateur Championship, go online to www.asianamateurchampionship.com. Well, the Sunny Skies return for the final round of the Asian Amateur Championship at Kasumi Kaseki Country Club, the West Course, an hour northwest of Tokyo. And this is action from early in the final round. Yosuke Asaji with the birdie at 1. It looked like at that point he might make a little bit of a move. Day began with just 2 players within 6 shots of the lead. Only 7 players were under par in red figures after 54 holes. At 2, another nice effort from Asaji, and this for back-to-back birdies to begin. Got it. And here's the talented young player from New Zealand, Ben Campbell.
Couldn't quite reach the green in 2, left himself in good position, and then took advantage of 2 great shots, knocking it right up there next to the hole.
And this for birdie. Par 5, 6th. Third shot at 6. Jarquin McManus started the day in second place, and that was a lovely bunker shot for the 21-year-old Aussie from Queensland.
Also up around the green in 2. Matsuyama just chipping from the edge of the green, just misses out.
And you wondered if Matsuyama would play defensively. Would he still be aggressive? Obviously trying to power his way to the finish after a stellar 65 on Saturday. Showed us at that point that was exactly what he was going to do. Asaji at the 7th, another lovely putt. Going to par 3, 224 yards for the final round.
Well, this is such a tough par 3. I mean, you're just hoping to make a par 3, and these players are making the difficult 7th look very easy.
McManus, hole high, and 4 feet away, and converts the birdie. We really had also a tournament within a tournament, because the runner-up finisher qualifies for the international final, qualifying for the Open Championship, as well as the winner. McManus, at the very least, wanted to hang on to second place.
Matsuyama, ball just barely flowing off the left side of the green from the left fringe.
His try for birdie. And you just never felt that his position as the leader was in jeopardy.
He looked so strong in the 3rd round in the difficult rainy conditions. Came out today of more of the same.
Now Lee Kyung-kun from just off the green at the 11th.
Oh yeah.
Another long par 3, and Lee chips it in, and that's some difficult, thick rough that he's holed it from. It rough around the collar of the green was not easy to deal with for these players this week.
And here's Asaji from the rough on the par 5, 10th.
From the left rough, he's got a pretty good angle into a back right hole location. Took advantage of keeping it below the hole, and that's the key here, as I said earlier.
For birdie. Asaji was trying to make a move, at the very least on second place, keeping McManus in his sights. That was the final threesome, by the way. Our leader, you're looking at right there, Asaji and McManus.
Hideki laid up off the tee, left himself a longer downhill lie in there, but very aggressive to this elevated green. Left himself a tough putt, though.
And this for birdie.
It's a straight downhill with a big break from right to left. You have to putt this a little bit defensively, but he's going to have none of that. That
got him to 14 under par. And 3 under for his final round. And again, no bogeys on the card. This is the only spot of trouble. It came at the 14th. He hit his tee shot in the trees, and watch how he responds.
Well, he had a limited follow through. His club actually hit the trunk of that tree. Didn't deter him at all, though. Very aggressive shot when he had a pretty good sized lead. Could have played safe. He didn't. Very aggressive.
Everything that he did this week, he did with confidence. And now this from a very tough spot for birdie. Got it. So he turns trouble into something positive, and 15 under par, 4 under for his final round, and now virtually uncatchable. Fourth shot at the 15th, the par 5. Time and time again, he produced shots like that. Lee Kyung-hoon at the 16th.
Very difficult putt here. Uphill, right to left in the beginning, and then might fall just a little bit back left to right. Certainly not a putt you would expect to make, just trying a 2-putt.
Trying to join the battle for second place. At that time, he was right in the thick of things for at least a runner-up finish. -8, 4 under for his final round. Back to Assange at the 17th, the short par 4 approach shot.
Drove it way down the fairway. He had no view of this elevated green, but he stuck it right next to the hole.
Trying to put some pressure on McManus for second place. Matsuyama at the last.
A huge lead. All he's trying to do is put it in the middle of the green, and I think for the first time he showed a little bit of nerves in the situation, because we hadn't seen him make too many mistakes with irons in his hands all week, but it wasn't going to be a problem at all.
And when he looks back on this week, I'm sure that he'll agree that he won the tournament with his 65 yesterday. He did back off today, did what he needed to do. Solid effort from this young man, 18 years old, from Japan, trying to become the first amateur golfer from Japan to ever get an invitation to play in the Masters. And this for par.
He has a big lead, but you always want to hole a nice putt. You don't want to miss one and tap in, so he's really grinding on this putt.
To shoot 67. What a performance. Hideki Matsuyama, 68, 69, 65, and 67 to win the Asian Amateur Championship.
Hideki Matsuyama of Japan.
Trophy presentation. Shy young man, and thrust into the spotlight, and his life really has changed forever.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And a look at our final leaderboard from the 2010 Asian Amateur Championship. Hideki Matsuyama, runaway winner at 15 under par. Tarquin McManus wraps up second place at -10, and Yosuke Assange came so close, but he finishes at -9. Ben Campbell and Lee Kyung-hoon finished at -4, but we got a chance to see, Jay, some great emerging talent here in this part of the world.
No question about it, and players from 27 different countries. I think it was a thrill for all of them because of such a unique experience coming here, a great golf course, a lot of history, but being a part of something that's it is so big already, but it's only going to grow as the years go on.
The Asian Amateur Championship, first announced back in February of 2009 by Augusta National Chairman Billy Payne in partnership with the R&A and the Asia Pacific Golf Confederation, the continuation of a long tradition supporting and promoting amateur golf, which goes back to the co-founders of Augusta National, Bobby Jones and Clifford Roberts, and gave us all something to remember this week. The second playing of the Asian Amateur Championship, and Hideki Matsuyama is headed to the Masters. So long from Japan.